Hello, everyone, and welcome back to English in Moments. I'm Elena, and I am so glad you have chosen to be here today for this powerful speaking practice. So many of my students tell me the same thing. Elena, I know thousands of English words. I can understand movies. I can do grammar exercises. But when I am in a real-life conversation, I freeze. Does that sound familiar? You have all this knowledge in your head, but when it's time to speak, you suddenly can't find the right words. You become nervous. You start translating in your head, and the moment passes. This gap between knowing English and using English is the most difficult part of fluency. And today, we are going to close that gap. This is not a traditional lesson. This is a practice marathon, a real-life English simulation. For the next hour or more, I am going to be your guide and your conversation partner. We are going to walk through some of the most common, most difficult, and most important situations in daily life. I will set the scene, I will give you the context, and I will provide you with the exact language you need to handle that situation with confidence. Your job is to speak. You must say these sentences out loud. When I give you a phrase, I want you to repeat it after me. Shadow my intonation, copy my rhythm, and feel what it's like to use these phrases yourself. This is an active workout. The more you speak, the more these phrases will become automatic. Are you ready? Let's begin. Our first scenario is one of the most nerve-wracking for any English learner, the professional meeting. Whether you are on a video call or in a boardroom, meetings are difficult. You don't just need to be correct, you need to be diplomatic. You need to sound confident, but not aggressive. You need to be polite, but also strong. We are going to master the key skills you need. We will practice in detail how to politely disagree, how to interrupt, how to present your idea, and how to ask for clarification. Let's begin with part 1, how to politely disagree. This is the most important skill. In many cultures, disagreeing directly is rude. In English, it's okay, but you must use cushion language. You cannot just say, "That's a bad idea." You must soften the phrase. Let's practice the most important phrases for disagreeing. Please repeat after me. We will start with phrases that show you were listening. Repeat. I see your point, but... Repeat. I understand where you're coming from, however. Repeat. That's a valid point, but good. Now let's try a slightly different set of phrases. These are very polite and common. Repeat. I'm not so sure about that. Repeat. I'm not sure I agree with that. Repeat. I have a slightly different perspective on this. Now let's practice a full sentence. Imagine your colleague says, "We should focus all our money on advertising." You want to disagree. Repeat. I see your point, but I think we should also invest in product development. Let's try another one. Repeat. I respectfully disagree. I believe our customer service needs more attention. Let's practice a phrase that offers a partial agreement. This is very effective. Repeat. I agree with you up to a point, but have we considered the cost? One more time, a very strong and clear phrase. Repeat. From my perspective, that's not the best option right now. Next is part 2. How to politely interrupt. What happens when you are in a meeting and everyone is talking? You have a great idea, but you can't find a moment to speak. You are afraid of being rude. You need a phrase to signal that you are about to speak. Let's practice these interruption phrases. Repeat after me. May I jump in here? Repeat. Sorry to interrupt, but... Repeat. If I could just add something quickly. Those are excellent. Here are a few more that are very professional. Repeat. I'd like to add my thoughts on that if I may. Repeat. Before we move on, I'd like to make a point. Repeat. Could I just jump in for a moment? Let's practice this in a real situation. Imagine your boss is talking. You need to interrupt to add a critical piece of information. Repeat. Sorry to interrupt, but I have the sales numbers you were asking for. Let's try another one. Repeat. If I could just add something quickly, I believe the deadline is next week, not this week. Now for part 3, how to present your idea clearly. Okay, so you have successfully interrupted. Now you have everyone's attention. How do you present your idea? You need to sound clear and confident. Let's practice phrases from making a suggestion. Repeat. I think we should. Repeat. What if we. Repeat. Perhaps we could. Now let's practice stronger, more formal phrases. These are great for proposals. Repeat. I propose that we. Repeat. My recommendation is that we. Repeat. I suggest we. Let's also practice phrases that build on what someone else said. This shows you are a good team player. Repeat. Building on what Sarah said, we could also. Repeat. To add to that point, I think. Let's put it all together. You are in a meeting and you have an idea. Repeat. I have an idea. What if we survey our customers first? Let's try a more formal one. Repeat. My recommendation is that we postpone the launch until we fix the bugs. And one more, showing you are collaborative. Repeat. Building on that point, perhaps we could move the budget to a different department. Moving on to part 4. How to ask for clarification. This is so important. Many learners are in a meeting, they get confused and they just sit there, nodding and smiling. This is dangerous. It is always better to ask for clarification. It shows you are paying attention. Let's practice the simplest phrases. Repeat. I'm sorry, could you repeat that? Repeat. I'm afraid I didn't catch that. Now let's practice phrases to clarify a specific point. Repeat. I'm not sure I follow you. Repeat. Could you explain that in a bit more detail? Repeat. What do you mean by that exactly? This next one is a very advanced and impressive skill. You repeat what you think they said to confirm. Let's practice. Repeat. So if I'm understanding you correctly, you're saying that. Repeat. Just to clarify, are you asking us to? Let's try a full example. You are confused about a deadline. Repeat. I'm sorry, I'm not sure I follow. Are you saying the project is due on Monday or Tuesday? One more. Repeat. Just to clarify, you want me to contact the client before I send the report? Finally, let's do part 5, the meeting simulation. Excellent. You now have the phrases. Let's put this all together in a mini simulation. I am going to play the role of your colleague, and I will also be your guide. Listen to my cue and then repeat the practice sentence after me. Let's begin. Imagine your colleague, David, makes a suggestion. Listen to David. I really think we should launch the new product next week. We have to be first to market. Now it's your turn. You need to disagree politely because you think it's too soon. Repeat the phrase after me. I see your point, David, but I'm not so sure that's a good idea. Now David is asking why. Listen to David. Oh? Why not? It's your turn. Present your reason and your alternative idea. Repeat after me. My recommendation is that we wait another 2 weeks. The product isn't fully tested yet. Now another colleague, Sarah, jumps in. But she's talking too fast and you get confused. Listen to Sarah. If we wait 2 weeks, we'll lose our market advantage and the budget constraints for quarter 3 will jeopardize the entire rollout. You are confused by the word jeopardize. You need to ask for clarification. Repeat after me. I'm sorry, Sarah, I'm not sure I follow. What do you mean by jeopardize the rollout? Sarah explains. Listen, I mean we might not have enough money to launch it properly if we wait. Now you understand. You want to interrupt to offer a compromise. Repeat the phrase after me. May I jump in here? What if we launch next week but only to a small group of users? Your colleague David likes this idea. Listen, that's a great point. I support that idea. You have just successfully navigated a difficult meeting. You disagreed politely, you presented your own idea, you asked for clarification, and you found a compromise. That is fantastic. All right, let's move on to our next scenario, which is perhaps the most high-pressure conversation of all. The job interview. The challenge of an interview is that you are not just communicating information, you are selling yourself. You need to sound professional, confident, positive, and capable, all in a language that is not your first. It's incredibly difficult. Today, we are going to practice the language for the 4 most common and most difficult interview questions. I will give you the structures and the powerful vocabulary you need to answer them with confidence. Remember, repeat everything after me. Let's make this language your own. We'll start with part 1. Tell me about yourself. This is the most common opening question, and it's a trap. They are not asking for your life story. They are asking for your professional story. You need a short, powerful summary, often called an elevator pitch. The best structure is present, past, future. Present is, what is your current role? Past is, what relevant experience brought you here? And future is, why are you a good fit for this job? Let's practice the opening line. This should be confident and clear. Repeat. Certainly, I'm currently a, and you would state your job title. Repeat. I've been working as a, for the past years. Now, let's practice connecting that to your past experience. Repeat. In my previous role at, company name, I was responsible for, repeat. This experience really strengthened my skills in. Now, let's practice the future part, connecting it to this job. Repeat. I'm really looking to bring my skills in to a new challenge. Repeat. And when I saw this job description, I was very excited because, repeat, I believe my experience aligns perfectly with this role. Let's try a full, simple example together. Repeat after me. Certainly. I'm currently a senior marketing manager with 5 years of experience in the tech industry. In my last role, I led a team that increased our online leads by 30%. I'm really looking to apply that experience to a larger company, and your focus on innovation is why I was so excited to apply here. That is a perfect, confident answer. Next is part 2. What is your greatest weakness? This is the question everyone hates. You cannot say, I have no weaknesses. You also cannot say a weakness that is too negative, like, I am always late. The secret is to choose a real weakness, but one that you are actively improving. The formula is, state the weakness, give an example, and show how you are improving. Let's practice the first part, stating the weakness honestly. Repeat. In the past, I've sometimes struggled with, repeat. One thing I'm actively working on is, repeat. I used to find it difficult to, let's use a classic example, public speaking. Repeat. In the past, I've sometimes struggled with public speaking. It's not my natural comfort zone. Now, let's practice the second part, showing how you are actively improving it. Repeat. So, I took a public speaking course. Repeat. I've been proactively volunteering to lead team meetings. Repeat. I'm learning to manage my nerves and prepare more thoroughly. Let's put it all together. Repeat this full, excellent answer. One thing I'm actively working on is my tendency to be a bit of a perfectionist. In the past, I would spend too much time on small details. Now, I'm improving this by using a new system. I set clear priorities for each task and focus on the big picture first, which helps me deliver high-quality work much more efficiently. Now for part 3. Why do you want this job? Another trap. Your answer cannot just be, I need the money. They want to know why you want this company and this role. You must show you have done your research. The formula is, praise the company plus connect to the role. Let's practice praising the company. Repeat. I've always admired this company's reputation for. Repeat. I've been following your work in, example, renewable energy, for a while. Repeat. I'm very impressed by your recent, e.g., product launch. Now, let's practice connecting it to the role itself. Repeat. This role is a perfect match for my skills in. Repeat. I'm excited by the opportunity to. Repeat. This job seems to be the ideal next step in my career. Let's try a full answer. Repeat. I've always admired this company's reputation for innovation. When I saw the job description for this role, I was excited by the opportunity to work on your new projects. My experience in software development aligns perfectly with your goals, and I am eager to contribute. And part 4. Do you have any questions for us? The answer to this must always be yes. Not asking questions makes you seem unprepared or uninterested. This is your chance to interview them. Let's practice some smart professional questions. Never ask about salary or vacation time here. Ask about the team, the challenges, or the future. Repeat these great questions. Can you tell me more about the day-to-day responsibilities of this role? Repeat. What are the biggest challenges facing the team right now? Repeat. What does success look like in this position for the first 90 days? Repeat. Can you describe the team culture here? Repeat. What are the next steps in the interview process? Finally, let's do part 5. The interview simulation. Wonderful. You have the language. Let's do a quick simulation. I will be the interviewer. Listen to the question, and then repeat the strong, confident answer after me. Let's begin. Interviewer. Thank you for coming in today. To start, can you tell me a little bit about yourself? Now, repeat your answer. Certainly. I'm currently a graphic designer with 3 years of experience. In my last role, I was responsible for rebranding our entire product line, which was a great success. I'm now looking to bring my skills in branding and design to a mission-driven company like this one. Interviewer. That's great. So, what would you say is your greatest weakness? Repeat your answer. In the past, I sometimes struggled with delegating tasks because I wanted to control the quality. However, I've learned that this is not efficient. I've since taken a leadership course and now focus on training my team and trusting their abilities, which has led to much better results for everyone. Interviewer. That's very self-aware. And finally, why are you interested in this particular job? Repeat your answer. I've been following your company's work for a long time, and I'm very impressed by your commitment to sustainability. This role is a perfect match for my experience, and I'm excited by the opportunity to contribute to a mission I truly believe in. You see, with these structures, you sound prepared, professional, and fluent. You have just completed a very successful job interview. Our next scenario is one that we all dread: handling a conflict or making a complaint. For many English learners, this is terrifying. We worry so much about being polite and using the wrong words that we often say nothing at all. Or sometimes the frustration builds up and we become too aggressive. The goal today is to find the perfect balance. We are not learning to be rude, we are learning to be clear, firm, and fair. You have a right to good service, and you have a right to get the product you paid for. We are going to practice the diplomatic language you need to solve a problem without starting a fight. We will practice in 2 common contexts: at a restaurant and on a customer service phone call. Let's start with part 1, the language of complaining politely. First, we need to get someone's attention. At a restaurant, you don't snap your fingers or yell. You make eye contact and use a polite signal. Let's practice. Repeat after me. Excuse me. Repeat. Pardon me. Repeat. Excuse me when you have a moment. Great. Now the most important part, stating the problem. We must avoid weak, unclear language like, "It's a little bad." We also must avoid aggressive language like, "This is disgusting." We use polite, cushion phrases to soften the direct complaint. Let's practice these essential phrases. Repeat after me. I'm afraid there's a problem with. Repeat. I'm sorry, but this isn't what I ordered. Repeat. There seems to be a mistake. Repeat. I think there might be a misunderstanding. Now, let's use those in full sentences. Repeat. Excuse me, I'm afraid my soup is cold. Repeat. Pardon me, I think there might be a mistake on the bill. Repeat. I'm sorry, but this isn't what I ordered. I asked for the salad. Next is part 2, stating your desired outcome. After you state the problem, you must clearly state what you want. Do not wait for the other person to guess. You must be specific. Let's practice these phrases. Repeat. Could you please bring me a new one? Repeat. Could you please take this off the bill? Repeat. Would it be possible to have this reheated? Repeat. Could you please correct this for me? Repeat. I'd like to speak to the manager, please. This last one is very important. If the person you are speaking to cannot help, you must be ready to escalate the issue. Let's do part 3, the restaurant simulation. Let's put this together in a simulation. I will be the waiter and I will also be your guide. You are the customer and your food is not correct. Let's begin. I, as the waiter, will walk by your table. Listen, is everything all right with your meal? Now it's your turn. Your steak is overcooked. You asked for medium rare and it is well done. Get my attention and state the problem. Repeat the phrase after me. Excuse me. I'm afraid there's a problem with my steak. Now I am listening. Listen to the waiter. Oh? I'm very sorry to hear that. What is the issue? Now, explain the problem clearly and specifically. Repeat after me. I asked for it to be medium rare, but I'm afraid this is well done. The waiter is apologetic. Listen, my apologies. I will let the chef know right away. Now, state your desired outcome. What do you want? Repeat after me. Could you please ask the kitchen to make me a new one? There. You see? It was not a fight. It was polite, direct, and you solved your problem. Now for part 4, the customer service phone call. Now let's practice a different and often more frustrating scenario, a customer service phone call. The challenge here is that you cannot use body language. Your words must be extra clear. First, you must identify yourself and state your reason for calling. Let's practice. Repeat. Hello, my name is, and my account number is. Repeat. I'm calling about. Repeat. I'm calling because I believe there is an error on my latest bill. Now, let's practice explaining the problem. You must be specific. Repeat. I was charged for a late fee, but I paid my bill on time. Repeat. My internet service has not been working and I'd like to request a refund. Repeat. I was overcharged for my subscription this month. Now, what happens if the agent says I can't help you? You must escalate. Let's practice the language for escalating a problem. Repeat. I understand this may not be your policy, but I'd like to speak to a manager. Repeat. Could you please escalate this issue to a supervisor? Repeat. I'm sorry, but that solution is not acceptable. I need to speak with someone who has more authority. Let's try part 5, the phone call simulation. Let's try a quick simulation. I will be the customer service agent. You are the customer. Listen to the agent. Thank you for calling tech support. How can I help you? Now, state who you are and why you are calling. You have a mistake on your bill. Repeat. Hello, my name is, and I'm calling about an error on my latest internet bill. The agent asks for details. Listen. I see. Can you please tell me what the error is? Explain the problem. You were charged for a movie rental that you did not order. Repeat. Yes, I was charged $20 for a movie rental, but I did not rent any movies last month. The agent gives you a bad answer. Listen. I'm sorry, sir, ma'am, but our system shows the rental was made from your account. I cannot remove the charge. Do not accept this. You must be firm and escalate. Repeat after me. I understand what your system says, but that is incorrect. I did not make that rental. I would like to speak to a manager, please. Excellent. You were not aggressive, but you were strong. You stated your problem clearly and you did not give up. That is how you master a real-life conflict in English. Welcome back. Our next scenario is one that many people find just as difficult as a job interview, but in a different way. Making small talk. For a lot of us, small talk can feel boring, meaningless, or just plain awkward. When you are at a party, a networking event, or even just in the office kitchen, there is that moment of silence. What do you say? How do you start a conversation with a stranger without being strange? But small talk is not meaningless. It is the glue that holds all of our social and professional relationships together. It is how we build connections. It is how we show people that we are friendly, approachable, and interested. Today, we are going to learn the rules of small talk. It is a game, and once you know the rules, you can play it with confidence. We will practice the 3 essential parts: the opener, the follow-up, and the polite exit. First, part 1, the opener. How to start. The biggest fear is how to begin. The secret is to use the shared context. What do you and the other person have in common right now? You are in the same room, at the same event, or experiencing the same weather. Use that. Let's practice some simple, safe openers. Repeat after me. Let's practice a comment about the event. Repeat. This is a great event, isn't it? Repeat. It's a fantastic party. How do you know the host? Repeat. This is my first time at this conference. How about you? Now let's practice a comment about the place or the food. Repeat. What a beautiful office. Do you work here? Repeat. The food looks amazing. Have you tried the? Repeat. It's really busy in here today, isn't it? And of course, the most famous safe topic, the weather. It works. Repeat. It's a beautiful day, isn't it? Repeat. I can't believe how cold it is for this time of year. Those are your openers. They are simple, safe, and they invite the other person to respond. Next is part 2, the follow-up, how to keep it going. This is the most important part. You've started the conversation. How do you keep it from dying? The secret is to not be interesting, but to be interested. The best tool for this is the open-ended question. A closed question is one that can be answered with yes or no. For example, do you like your job? Yes. Now, the conversation is dead. An open question uses words like what, how, why, or where. It requires the other person to give you more information. Let's practice turning closed questions into open questions. Instead of, do you like your job? Practice this. What's the most interesting part of your job? Or, how did you get into that line of work? Instead of, are you from here? Practice this. Where are you from originally? Or, oh, you're from Tokyo? What's it like living there? Let's practice some other excellent open-ended questions. Repeat after me. So, what do you do when you're not working? Repeat. What do you like to do in your free time? Repeat. Have you seen any good movies or read any good books lately? Repeat. Are you working on any exciting projects at the moment? When they answer, you must show you are listening. We do this with active listening phrases. Repeat these. Oh, that's fascinating. Repeat. Really? What happened next? Repeat. That sounds challenging. Repeat. That sounds amazing. Now for part 3. The polite exit. How to escape. You've been talking for 5 or 10 minutes. The conversation is slowing down. How do you leave without being rude? You need an exit strategy. It's very simple. You just need a phrase that signals the end of the conversation. Let's practice these polite exit phrases. Repeat after me. Well, it was a real pleasure to meet you. I'm going to go grab another drink. Repeat. It was so nice talking with you. I need to go find my colleague before she leaves. Repeat. I don't want to take up any more of your time, but it was great to chat. Repeat. It was great to meet you. I hope you enjoy the rest of the event. See? Simple, polite, and effective. Okay, let's do part 4, the small talk simulation. Let's put it all together. Imagine we are at a company networking event. I will play the other person, and I will also be your guide. Let's begin. You see me standing alone by the window. It's time to use your opener. Repeat after me. Hi, I'm your name. This is a great event, isn't it? Now I will respond as the other person. Listen, it really is. The venue is beautiful. I'm Elena, by the way. Nice to meet you. Now don't let the conversation die. Ask me an open-ended question about work. Repeat. Nice to meet you, Elena. So what do you do here? I will answer. Listen, I'm a designer. I work in the marketing department. Now don't just say, oh, nice. Ask a follow-up question. Repeat. Oh, that sounds creative. What's the most interesting project you're working on right now? I will answer. Listen. Well, right now we're designing the new company website, so it's a lot of work, but it's very exciting. Now, use one of your active listening phrases to show interest. Repeat. That sounds really challenging. I'm sure it will look fantastic. We talk for a few more minutes. Now the conversation is coming to a natural end. It's time for your polite exit. Repeat after me. Well, it was a real pleasure to meet you, Elena. I'm going to go mingle a bit, but I hope you enjoy the rest of the night. And I respond, you too. It was great talking with you. And that's it. You have just successfully navigated a complete small talk conversation. You were confident, polite, and you made a new connection. Welcome back to our practice marathon. Our next scenario is a very important one. It's the skill of telling a good story. Think about your friends or colleagues. Who is the most fun to talk to? It's usually the person who can tell a good story. They can take a simple, everyday event, like a bad day at work or a funny thing they saw on the bus, and make it engaging, funny, and interesting. Many English learners struggle with this. When they try to tell a story, they often just report the facts. They say, I went to the store, then I bought milk, then I went home. It's boring, and the listener loses interest. The difference between reporting and storytelling is the language you use. Today, we are going to practice the essential language that makes a story come alive. We will learn how to hook your listener, how to build suspense, and how to end with a punchline. First, Part 1. The hook. How to start the story. You can't just start with the first detail. You need a hook, a phrase that makes the listener stop and pay attention. You are signaling to them that a good story is coming. Let's practice these hook phrases. Repeat after me. You will not believe what happened to me today. Repeat. Oh my gosh, I have to tell you what I just saw. Repeat. The craziest thing just happened. Repeat. I have the funniest/weirdest story for you. Repeat. So get this. See? All of those phrases make the listener lean in and ask, what? What happened? Next, Part 2. Setting the scene, giving the context. Now that you have their attention, you need to quickly set the scene. Who, what, where, when. But do it in a casual, conversational way. Let's practice these phrases. Repeat. So, I was on my way to work this morning. Repeat. Picture this. I'm at the supermarket on Saturday. Repeat. It was a totally normal day and I was just... Repeat. So, I was at this party last night, right? This gives your listener the background they need to understand the story. Now, Part 3. The build-up, sequencing, and vivid words. This is the most important part. You don't want to just list the facts. You need to connect them and make them dramatic. First, we need sequencing words that are better than just and then, and then, and then. Let's practice these powerful connectors. Repeat. So then, repeat. And all of a sudden, repeat. Out of nowhere, repeat. The next thing I knew, repeat. And this is where it gets crazy. Second, you need to replace boring adjectives and adverbs with strong, vivid ones. Don't say it was bad. Say it was awful or it was a disaster. Don't say it was good. Say it was amazing or incredible. Let's practice. Repeat these vivid words. It was hilarious. Repeat. I was furious. Repeat. It was disgusting. Repeat. She was gorgeous. Repeat. He was enormous. Repeat. I was mortified. Next is Part 4. The climax and the wrap-up. The climax is the peak of your story. The funniest, strangest, or most important part. You can introduce it with a simple phrase. Let's practice. Repeat. And this is the crazy part. Repeat. I couldn't believe my eyes. Repeat. And can you believe what he did? Finally, you need to end the story. You need a punchline or a final feeling. Let's practice these wrap-up phrases. Repeat. Long story short. Repeat. In the end, it was all fine. Repeat. It was the most embarrassing moment of my life. Repeat. Can you even believe that? Repeat. What a crazy day. Okay, let's do Part 5, the storytelling simulation. Let's put it all together. We are going to tell a simple, everyday story about a bad experience at a coffee shop. But we are going to make it a good story. I will be your guide. Just repeat the story line by line after me. Let's start with the hook. Repeat. Oh my gosh, you will not believe what just happened to me. Now, your friend is listening. Let's set the scene. Repeat. So I was at that new coffee shop on Main Street just trying to grab a coffee before work. Now the build-up. Let's add some detail. Repeat. First of all, the line was huge and I was already running late. I finally get my coffee, I pay, and I turn around to leave. Now, let's use our sequencing words for the main event. Repeat. And all of a sudden, this guy, who is not looking where he's going, walks straight into me. Now, the climax. Let's use vivid words. Repeat. The entire hot coffee went everywhere. All over my shirt, all over my bag. It was a complete disaster. Let's add more detail. Repeat. And this is the crazy part. He didn't even say sorry. He just looked at me like it was my fault. Now, let's wrap it up. What was the final feeling? Repeat. I was furious. Long story short, I had to go to work covered in coffee. What a terrible way to start the day. See the difference? You didn't just say, "A man spilled coffee on me." You told a story. You used a hook. You set the scene. You used vivid language and you had a punchline. That is how you connect with people. Welcome to our final and most challenging scenario, making a difficult request. This is one of the highest levels of communication. Why is this so hard? Because we are afraid of rejection. We are afraid of seeming rude or greedy or needy. When we have to ask for a big favor, we worry we are burdening the other person. When we have to ask for a raise, we are worried we will be told no. So we often use weak language. We say, "I'm so sorry, but maybe if you're not busy, you could possibly." This weak language makes it easy for the other person to say no. Today, we are not learning to be aggressive. We are learning to be respectfully assertive. You will learn to state what you want clearly, politely, and, most importantly, confidently. First, Part 1. How to set up the request. You cannot ambush someone with a big request. You cannot ask your boss for a raise in the elevator. You must show respect for their time by setting the stage. First, you must ask for their time. Let's practice. Repeat. Do you have a few minutes to talk in private? Repeat. I was wondering if we could schedule a 15-minute chat sometime this week. Repeat. Hi, someone name. I'd like to discuss something with you when you have a free moment. This gives the other person a chance to prepare and gives you their full attention. Next, Part 2. How to ask for a favor. When you ask for a favor, you must do two things. Acknowledge that you are asking for something valuable, their time or effort, and be very clear about what you need. Let's practice the opening phrases. These show respect. Repeat. I know you're incredibly busy, but I was hoping you could help me with something. Repeat. I have a big favor to ask you. Repeat. I was wondering if you might be able to. Now let's practice stating the request clearly. Repeat. I was wondering if you might be able to proofread my presentation. Repeat. I was hoping you could give me a ride to the airport. Repeat. I would be so grateful if you could watch my cat for the weekend. Finally, and this is critical, you must give them an easy, polite way to say no. This takes all the pressure off. Let's practice. Repeat. I completely understand if you're too busy, so please don't feel obligated. Repeat. But if you can't, it's no problem at all. Repeat. There is no pressure at all, but I just wanted to ask. When you do this, you sound confident, respectful, and you preserve the relationship even if they say no. Now, Part 3. How to ask for a raise. This is the most high-stakes professional request. You must prepare for this. Crucial rule. You are not asking for a raise because you need more money. You are asking for a raise because you deserve it. Your request must be based on your value, your accomplishments, and your contributions. First, you must set the meeting. Repeat this professional phrase. Hi, boss's name. I'd like to schedule a 30-minute meeting to discuss my performance and career progression. Now you are in the meeting. You must start by stating your case. You need to summarize your successes. Let's practice the language. Repeat. Thank you for meeting with me. Repeat. I've really enjoyed my work here over the past year. Repeat. I wanted to briefly review some of my accomplishments. Now, let's practice listing those accomplishments. Repeat. In the last 6 months, I have successfully. Repeat. I've taken on new responsibilities, including. Repeat. I'm proud of the fact that I was able to, for example, increase our sales/streamline the process/manage the new project. Now comes the ask. You must be direct. You have shown your value, now you state what you want. Let's practice these clear, confident phrases. Repeat. Based on these contributions and my performance, repeat. And in line with the market rate for my role, repeat. I would like to formally request a review of my salary. Repeat. I would like to request an adjustment to my compensation. You have stated your case. Now you must be quiet and let them respond. Next is part 4, handling the answer. What if they say, I need to think about it, or no? You must stay professional. Do not get emotional. Let's practice a professional response to, I need to think about it. Repeat, thank you, I understand. When would be a good time for us to follow up on this? Now, let's practice a professional response to, no, we can't do that right now. Repeat, thank you for considering it. I appreciate your honesty. Could we discuss what I would need to accomplish in the next 6 months to be eligible for an increase then? This is a brilliant response. It shows you are committed, professional, and focused on growth, not just on money. Finally, part 5, the difficult request simulation. Let's do a quick simulation. You are asking for a big favor from a colleague. You want them to help you with a difficult project. First, set the stage. Repeat, hi, name. Do you have a quick minute to chat? The colleague says yes. Now, use your respectful opening phrase. Repeat, I know you are extremely busy with your own projects, but I have a big favor to ask you. Your colleague is listening. Now, be clear about your request. Repeat, I'm really struggling with the data for my report. You are an expert at this. I was wondering if you might have 30 minutes to look it over for me. Now, give them the polite out. Repeat, I know it's a huge ask, so if you don't have time, I completely understand. No pressure at all. This is a perfect, professional, and kind way to ask for help. By being so respectful, you make the other person want to help you. You have now mastered the language of being respectfully assertive. Our next scenario is one of the most difficult in all of professional life. Scenario 7. Giving and receiving feedback. This is a high-level skill. Why is it so hard? Because we are not just exchanging information, we are dealing with emotions. When we have to give criticism, we are afraid of hurting someone's feelings, being seen as the bad guy or damaging a relationship. And when we receive criticism, our first instinct is to become defensive, to protect our ego. But feedback is not a conflict, it is a tool for growth. Today, we are going to learn how to be the person everyone wants to work with, the person who can give clear, constructive feedback, and the person who can receive feedback with confidence and grace. We will learn to be direct, but kind, and strong, but receptive. Let's begin with part 1, how to give positive feedback. This sounds easy, but it is so important. Good positive feedback is not just, good job. That is nice, but it is not specific and it doesn't help the person grow. Specific praise is motivating and shows you are truly paying attention. Let's practice some phrases for giving specific, powerful praise. Repeat after me. I was so impressed with your presentation. Specifically, the way you handled the Q&A was brilliant. Repeat. I want to commend you on the work you did for the report. Your data analysis was incredibly thorough. Repeat. You did a fantastic job managing that angry client. You were professional, calm, and you found a perfect solution. Repeat. I really appreciate the extra hours you put in this week. It made a huge difference in helping us meet the deadline. You see? This is much more powerful than good job. Now for the difficult part, part 2. How to give constructive, negative feedback. The most important rule is that you must criticize the work or the behavior, never the person. You must also be specific, and you must do this in private. We are going to learn a simple 3-step model: the cushion, the observation, and the path forward. First, the cushion. You start by signaling that this is a serious conversation, but you are not angry. You are collaborative. Let's practice the opening phrases. Repeat. Do you have a few minutes to chat about the project? Repeat. I'd like to share some thoughts with you on the presentation if you're free. Repeat. When you have a moment, I'd like to go over the report with you. Now for step 2, the observation. You must state the problem clearly, but you use neutral, objective language. You don't say, you were lazy. You say, I noticed the report was late. Let's practice these objective phrases. Repeat. I noticed that the deadline for the report was missed. Repeat. I was a bit concerned about some of the numbers in the final spreadsheet. Repeat. During the team meeting, I felt that your comments came across as a bit dismissive to the client. Finally, and this is the most important step, the path forward. You don't just leave the person with the problem. You look to the future. You ask for their perspective, and you propose a solution. Let's practice these collaborative, forward-looking phrases. Repeat. What were the challenges you were facing with that? Repeat. How can we work together to make sure this doesn't happen next time? Repeat. Moving forward, I'd like us to focus on. Repeat. Let's make a plan to. Now let's put all three parts together into a full example. Your colleague's report had many errors. Repeat this full response. Hi, name. Do you have a few minutes to chat about the report? I noticed there were a few inconsistencies in the final data. Moving forward, let's set up a 15-minute review call before you send the final version, just to have a second set of eyes on it. What do you think? That is a perfect, professional, and kind way to give feedback. Next, we practice part 3, how to receive negative feedback. This is just as hard, if not harder. When your boss or colleague criticizes you, your heart starts pounding. Your first instinct is to say, but or that's not my fault. You must fight this instinct. Your only goal in this moment is to listen and understand. You are not agreeing, you are not disagreeing, you are just collecting information. Let's practice the most important phrases you need. These phrases buy you time and stop you from becoming defensive. Repeat after me. Thank you for telling me. Repeat. I appreciate you bringing this to my attention. Repeat. Okay, I'm listening. Repeat. I understand. Now you need to make sure you truly understand the problem. You must ask clarifying questions. This also shows that you are taking the feedback seriously. Let's practice these clarifying questions. Repeat. Can you tell me more about that? Repeat. Could you give me a specific example of what you mean? Repeat. So if I'm understanding you correctly, you're saying that. Repeat. What would you like to see me do differently next time? These phrases are pure gold. They will make you look confident, mature, and professional, even when you are receiving criticism. Now, part 4, the feedback simulation. Let's practice a full exchange. Imagine I am your colleague David, and I was supposed to send you my part of a project on Tuesday. But it is now Wednesday, and I have not communicated with you. You need to give me feedback. Let's begin. First, you need to get my attention and set the stage. Repeat after me. Hi, David. Do you have a quick minute to chat about the project? Now I, as David, will respond. Listen. Oh, hey. Yeah, I'm a bit busy, but what's up? Now use your feedback model. State the observation clearly and calmly. Repeat. I was expecting your part of the project yesterday, but I haven't received it yet. Now I will give you an excuse. Listen. Oh man, I know. I'm so sorry. I've just been buried in other work. I'll try to get it to you soon. Don't let this vague promise end the conversation. You must find a path forward. State the impact of my lateness and propose a clear solution. Repeat after me. I understand you're busy, but it's holding up the rest of the team. Can you commit to sending it by 4 o'clock today? Now I will agree. Listen. Yes, okay, you're right. I will get it to you by 4, I promise. You have just handled a difficult situation. You were not mean, but you were not weak. You were clear, firm, and you solved the problem. That is how you master feedback. Let's move to our next scenario. Scenario 8. Finding a compromise and negotiating. When we hear the word negotiation, we think of million-dollar deals or buying a car. But we negotiate every single day. You negotiate with your boss about a deadline. You negotiate with your partner about where to eat dinner. You negotiate with your colleagues about who will handle which task. Many people are afraid of negotiation. They see it as a fight, where one person wins and one person loses. But that is not true. Good negotiation is not a battle. It is a collaboration. The goal is to find a win-win solution where both people feel respected. Today, we will practice the language you need to be a confident, fair, and successful negotiator. First, Part 1. Stating your position clearly. The ask. You cannot get what you want if you are not clear about it. You must state your ideal outcome with confidence, but also with politeness. You are not making a demand, you are opening a discussion. Let's practice these opening phrases. Repeat. I'd like to propose a new deadline for this project. Repeat. I'm here today to discuss my role and responsibilities. Repeat. I'd like to talk about the budget for this quarter. Repeat. My ideal solution would be. These phrases are polite, professional, and clear. Next, Part 2. Understanding the other person's needs. This is the most important secret of negotiation. You cannot find a win-win if you only think about yourself. You must become a detective. You must find out what the other person truly needs. The best way to do this is to ask open-ended questions. Let's practice these crucial questions. Repeat. Can you walk me through your main concerns on this? Repeat. What is your biggest priority in this situation? Repeat. What does your ideal outcome look like? Repeat. What parts of this proposal are you most worried about? The answers to these questions will give you the key to finding a compromise. Now for Part 3. Proposing a compromise. You have stated your position. You have listened to their position. Now you must find the middle ground. The magic phrase for this is, what if, or how about? This phrase is collaborative and creative. It invites the other person to solve the problem with you. Let's practice these compromise phrases. Repeat. What if we split the difference? Repeat. How about we try a different approach? Repeat. Would you be open to considering? Repeat. A possible compromise is to. Repeat. What if I, and in return you, for example, what if I finish the most urgent tasks by Friday and we move the less important ones to next week? Sometimes you cannot compromise. Part 4 is how to stand firm politely. If something is a must-have or a non-negotiable for you, you must be able to say no without starting a fight. You need a phrase that is both firm and respectful. Let's practice these. Repeat. I understand your position, but that is not something I can agree to. Repeat. I'm afraid I don't have any more flexibility on that point. Repeat. That's a non-negotiable for me. Repeat. I'm afraid that's my final offer. These are strong phrases, but they are still professional. They signal that the discussion on this one point is over. Finally, Part 5, the negotiation simulation. Let's practice. Imagine you are in a meeting with your boss, who I will play. You need to negotiate a new deadline. You are a good worker, but you have been given too much work and you cannot finish a big report by Friday. You need to ask for an extension. Let's begin. I, as your boss, will start. Listen. Thanks for coming in. You wanted to talk about the Acme report, right? I'm excited to see it on Friday. This is your moment. You must state your position clearly. You need to ask for more time. Repeat after me. Thank you for meeting with me. I've been reviewing the work and I'd like to propose a new deadline. I don't believe I can complete it by this Friday. Now I will push back. Listen, that's a problem. The client is expecting it. A Friday deadline is a Friday deadline. I really need you to get this done. Do not get scared. Now use Part 2. Ask questions to understand my needs. Repeat. I understand the client's needs are the top priority. Can you tell me what is the most important part of the report for the client? Is it the full analysis or the final data? That is a great question. I will answer. Listen. Well, that's a good question. They have a big meeting on Monday, so they absolutely need the final sales data. The written analysis is less urgent. Now you have your key. You can propose a win-win compromise using Part 3. Repeat after me. Okay, I understand. What if I deliver the 100% accurate and finalized sales data to you by Friday, and I deliver the full written analysis the following Tuesday? Now I will accept your brilliant compromise. Listen, yes, that would actually work perfectly. That's a great solution. Thank you. You have just successfully navigated a difficult negotiation. You didn't just accept no. You asked questions. You found the real problem, and you proposed a solution where everyone wins. That is a masterful skill. And with that, we are done. We have completed our entire real-life English conversation marathon. You have just practiced navigating some of the most difficult and important situations in the English language. You have practiced being in a professional meeting, handling a job interview, dealing with a conflict, making small talk, telling a great story, asking for what you deserve, giving and receiving feedback, and finding a compromise. I want you to pause for a moment and think about how you feel. You have been speaking, listening, and practicing for this entire session. This is the hard work. This is the real path to fluency. Remember, fluency is not about knowing 10,000 words. Fluency is about having the confidence to use the 100 words you need in the moment you need them. It is the confidence to walk into that meeting, or that party, or that job interview, and know that you have the tools to handle it. You now have those tools. This audio marathon is here for you. Do not just listen to it once. Come back. Before your next big meeting, practice the polite disagreement section. Before your next interview, practice the greatest weakness section. Before you go to that party, practice the small talk section. Treat this as your personal gym for your English-speaking muscles. The more you practice, the stronger, faster, and more automatic your speaking will become. Thank you so much for your incredible hard work and dedication today. I am so proud of the effort you have put in. This has been Elena from English in Moments. Keep practicing, keep growing, and I will see you in our next lesson.